also celebrating Mike Bacsik's last day at the Fan. And right now, we bring to you Texas Radio Hall of Famer, sports radio icon. It is Norm Hitzges right here on 105.3 The Fan. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, lads. How are you?
We're great. We're doing fantastic. Can you tell us, if you can go way in the Wayback Machine, or maybe you've just blocked out his memory, what you remember about working with Mike Bacsik?
Well, first of all, there are a couple of moments I'd blot out, but not many. Let me take you back further than that. I knew Mike Bacsik before he was Mike Bacsik. Mike's dad and I knew each other. And I was back then doing sports talk and then the Rangers on the air, though I never did Mike's dad on the air while I was doing about 15 years of Ranger television analysis. But then I'd see Mike's dad at the park with this little tyke trailing around with him. and that would be Mike Bacsik Jr. And again, I left the booth before I could see Mike and his legendary 101-mile-an-hour fastball pitch in the major leagues. By the way, Mike, that's two of your pitches added up.
It was before we had Norm exit velocity, but sometimes the gun would read 100 plus after they hit the ball.
Well, as they used to say, Mike could hit him in the same place twice in a row and not leave a mark. Hi, Mike. How you doing, bud?
Man, I'm doing great. And Norm, thank you so much. I honestly had no clue that you were the 1020 segment here. And if people don't know, I mean, Norm is my mentor. I got to break into the business somewhat with Norm Hitzges. And I just remember as a kid, I would just be in awe because I would get to say hello to you at Dallas Maverick games when you were calling the games for HSE, and I'd be there with my grandparents and my dad would come up for a few minutes and say hello, and I'm like, wow, this is the guy who calls the Rangers and the Mavericks game. This is awesome.
Well, Mike, it's been a lot of wonderful years, and I have to tell you how proud I am of you.
Thank you.
When Mike broke into the business, I kept encouraging Mike that he had a real future in this business and to keep at it because, as you guys know, making your way up in sports journalism these days, sports talk, radio, television analysis, it can be a long pole. And you don't start out making much money. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness. And that's been sort of a mark of Mike's career, honestly, both in baseball and in media. And we've been friends for a long, long, long time. And I'm not sure how the people at the ticket reacted when Mike and I would cross paths at Cowboy training camp and share a long hug in public in a conversation. But that's the business. And Mike, I'm so proud of you. I am going to tell you one thing, though.
Yes, sir. Years
ago, I did both Ranger games and a talk show.
Yeah.
Come on, Mike, muscle up. You're still a kid.
That's a good point.
I hear you, and I don't know how you did that. It was challenging last year. Obviously, I somewhat did that last year, not when we were on the road. It just got tough to bring. It was just, I brought the equipment to spring training to do the show when I was doing spring training games. But it's like, to haul around this equipment, then find a place where I'm going to do this from somewhere between 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. to noon to 2 o'clock seems very difficult. So I'll ask you, Norm, how did you, when you were on the road with the Mavericks or the Rangers, how were you able to broadcast so well?
Well, I would carry a box bigger and heavier than the one that you toted around, because that's the progress in journalism and technology. But there were some harrowing moments. And then having to get up the next morning show on Cliff, and I'd arranged all the stuff to get into the radio booth, and they had the line there that I could hook my equipment up on, and somehow, I still don't know how, Mike, somehow I set off the fire alarm at Fenway Park.
Oh, my God.
And within minutes, firemen in full gear with those weird little hats they wear and axes were in the same area of the broadcast. And I said, I don't know what I did. I did it, but I don't know what I did. Yeah, it can be a little challenging at time, and sleep was a little hard to come by back then.
Norm, I remember working at Channel 33, and we had you on as a guest, and I got to walk you out, and we were talking along the way, and Kevin and I were just a weekend show at the time, and you said, Corey, this is the most addictive business you'll ever be part of, and those words have stuck with me since then, because every day when I get up, I'm like, I love the work that I'm doing. I really enjoy getting up to work with Kevin, and then getting up to work with Mike, and then you get to do this part of the business. The TV business has to be pretty exciting too. And for that part of it, what kind of words can you give to Mike that he can stick with as he goes into this TV broadcast part?
Number one, have facts to back up your opinion. And the problem for Mike is there's too many facts in baseball now.
That's true.
I'm serious. I mean, you'll get breakdowns. Mike, you'll get them. This guy throws his four-seamer 43% for 28% of the time, his sinker 12% of the time, his cutter 9% of the time, his sweeper 6% of the time, his curve 4% of the time, and the changeup 3% of the time. Why the hell do we have to know that? We don't need to know that, but in analyzing a pitcher, Mike can do that. Have understandable facts for the audience. And right after the show, Mike, I'd like you to call me and explain WAR.
The three different wars too.
There's all different.
We don't know the mathematical equation, and then different wars at different websites.
It's crazy, but that's number one. Number two, be yourself. Just be yourself. I've always thought you had a wonderful persona in the media. You have a wonderful personality. Don't think you have to be anybody else. And finally, have fun. I mean, look around the ballpark. There are crazy things in the ballpark. I mean, crazy things. Fans, kids asleep drooling ice cream on their dad's chest. There's things at the ballparks. Mike, you've been to Fenway. Fenway's spooky, buddy. No. The numbers. You guys know about the numbers retired on the facing of the right field third deck?
Please tell us.
The Red Sox never, ever retired a number. Never. And then they decided, geez, we should put up Ted Williams' number.
Okay.
So they put up Ted Williams 9. And then a few years later, up on the same facing, they put up, let's see, a 4 and a 1, which is, I think, Bobby Dorr and Joe Cronin, okay? But don't hold me to that. And years go by. And then they retire Carl Yastrzemski's number 8. And that's what's up there. 9, 4, 1, 8. And then somebody pointed out that was the last time the Red Sox had won a World Series.
Oh, man.
September 4th, 1918.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Is that crazy?
That is crazy.
By pure happenstance, they put the numbers up in that order.
Wow.
And you know the little scoreboard at the bottom of the Green Monster?
Yeah.
The manual scoreboard? Thank heavens, because we're losing a lot of jobs in the federal government now. At least somebody's going to keep their job at Fenway.
Topical.
Unless an executive order comes down. But if you look on the slats between separating the games, there'll be a row of games and then a slat, and a row of games and a slat. You'll see some markings on there. That's the code that ships used, and that's the initials of the owner of the Red Sox and his wife in Morse code.
Wow.
And the reason that's important is when Fenway was about to open in 1912, it was so anticipated. This was going to be, and it was, the palace for baseball in America. And when Fenway finally opened, it was like on page 8 or page 10 of the Boston newspapers, because that was the same week the Titanic went down.
Oh, my gosh.
Mike, love that place, man. Love it.
Wow.
Love
Norm,
it. And Mike will tell you other things, like Old Cleveland Stadium. Mike, if someone bought a hot dog in Old Cleveland Stadium, everybody in the place could smell it. One hot dog. The aroma made it all the way around the place.
Wow. Norm, thank you so much. And thank you for loving me through the good times and the bad times. No matter what, you had my back, and you always were thoughtful and caring. And I think people understand that about you who know you. But if, we have young listeners and maybe they don't know Norm Hitzges too much, Norm, you are amazing, and you're a mentor to so many. Right next to me is Jared Sandler, and when I worked with you at the Ticket, Jared Sandler was an intern of ours. So, it's amazing how many people you've affected their lives, and thank you so much.
God bless you. Know how much I'm proud of you, and please pass on the same thing to Jared Sandler for me.